Hey everybody, Chris Kao here, Game Director for DC Universe Online.
And I'm Jens Anderson, the Creative Director on DC Universe Online. And we are here today to answer some of your Facebook questions that you posted.
Yes.
We're very interested in doing that. So, shall we?
Let's begin, shall we?
All right. Wonder Director powers activate!
Bam! Wait,
Form
which one
of
of
a
us?
nerd full of knowledge. All right.
James D asks,
Yes.
will you be able to transform into animals like a shapeshifter?
Absolutely. Shapeshifting is one of our powers in the game. We model it after Beast Boy.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
So, and a couple other characters too that do a little shapeshifting in there. So we have the animal form thing, we have the disguise thing that you can do as well. Animal forms though, if we take the Beast Boy angle, which is really cool, see a lot of him on Teen Titans, you can turn into various animals. So we will be letting you turn into, what, a wolf, I think you can turn into?
A wolf form,
A
right?
wolf form, and a monkey, a big giant gorilla. So you get to just sort of, you know, when you change too, you become you have the movement power of that thing.
That's
so
right.
You might be a flyer, but you turn into a gorilla and you become an acrobat. You turn into that wolf, you're going really fast.
That's right.
So,
And you gain special powers in that form. So you are just taking form of and then whatever it is, that's what it becomes. But like you mentioned, it's not just limited to animals. Shapeshifting or taking on another appearance also plays into some of the other powers. Do you happen to know which? Jens Anderson?
a little bit of stealth kind of stuff
That's
going
right.
on there. Maybe Martian Manhunter taking a different kind of form. So
Using
you can fool
mental
your
powers,
foes.
in fact, right?
Absolutely.
Mental powers can change their appearance and disguise themselves, but it's not meant to be like an animal. Instead, it's the other people think nothing's wrong, and you'll be able to stealth around. In other words, sneak around without anyone knowing who you are.
You can totally get people in trouble in the game.
You can.
You,
It's
think
great.
you pretend you're them, and then it's awesome.
You just look like a regular
We
dude on
should
the
totally
street.
let people shape change into other players.
So as he continues to promise features for the game, why don't you post about those to Jens Anderson and have him ask him all sorts of questions about his imaginary features?
Just keep in mind, I can't code.
Hey, are there any other questions we've got?
All right, yeah, we got
All right.
Shep M asks, will
Hey,
there
wait.
be...
Shep M, you gotta go. That's the name.
Oh, wait, yeah,
Shep M.
Shep's back.
That's right, he
What's
is.
up, Shep? Very loyal. All right, Shep M asks, will there be weapons or items that enhance powers in the game, like a fire player having a sword that lights on fire when swung, or a lightning player having a bow that shoots lightning bolts?
Well, you can set that up however you'd like, but really, you're going to have a power type and a weapon. So you might choose fire, and then you could choose sword. And every time you're swinging with your sword, it builds fire attacks because you're using your sword to take advantage of that power that you have. In the same way you could do it with pistols or a bow or whatever else. So while you're slashing, expect to cut some people up, but then also to lay down the fire as
And
it goes
those
forward.
effects look awesome. You just got fire swirling all around you as you're doing this like dance with your
Right.
sword or whatever weapon you really have on there.
So think of
Powerful
it more
stuff.
like a comic book than necessarily a fantasy game, right? This is about where it's about your powers and the weapons you use and how those manifest themselves. Not so much about just finding a sword that has magical properties. Remember, this is about your powers and your choices.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we have another question here. William F. asks, with the people who use magic and such, will there be a magic user like Mumbo Jumbo?
Mumbo Jumbo.
Mumbo Jumbo.
Mumbo Jumbo. So Mumbo Jumbo specifically actually is from Teen Titans Go. We have the license to DC Universe, which is a little different than some of the other animated series and things
But we
like
get
that.
what he's talking about.
Yeah, we totally get it. So Mumbo Jumbo, for those of you who don't know, is a guy with a top hat and a wand. He's some magician that can kind of make anything happen. And while we don't have Mumbo Jumbo, we do have another top hat wielding sorceress.
Do we?
We do, Zatanna.
That's
only she's
right.
rocking the fishnets, which works a little better for me than Mumbo Jumbo in his tuxedo, I have to say. But that's just me.
Just you.
Whatever role
That's
works
a
for
character,
you.
That's a character create choice.
So Zatanna can do anything she wants to as well. Basically her power is she speaks things backwards and then they magically happen. Exactly.
Exactly.
Play that
Hope
backwards.
that answered your question.
There will be no kind of, hidden weird things with the, with the playing Zatanna stuff backwards. It will be things like, I banish you, only
Right.
backwards. So.
And that's just how she does it. But
Right.
you yourself can be whatever kind of magic user you want to.
Yeah, we have sorcery in the game, and you can make a magic character. They can be a magic character themselves as well, kind of like or a Captain Marvel type or something
Right,
like
right.
that, who's imbued with magic.
Or if
they
you're a
can
villain,
be a spellcaster.
right? More of a Black Adam
Black
type.
Adam,
right?
yep. He's-
Lots of magic-based characters
awesome.
in the game.
A really cool Black Adam story. It's cool.
You like it?
I do.
All right.
All right, another question here. Let's see. Marlon W asks, I'm just wondering if DCUO will have any real-time day-night cycles.
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. When we were starting the project, we thought a lot about it, and what we realized is that Gotham and Metropolis aren't just cities or places in our game, they're really characters in the game. And they have a really specific, almost costume to themselves, right? Gotham is that brooding, sort of night dreary place, and Metropolis is all about tomorrow and looking ahead and being shining and bright. So what we've actually done is we've gotten the best lighting and look we can to make those characters pay off, to make those cities pay off as who they are, and we've left them like that because really Gotham is what it is, right? Metropolis is what it is, and that's going to be the best representation of those
Bat
things.
signal doesn't work too well in the daytime.
Good point.
Yeah. Why is he answering?
Where is he?
Gotta wait till night. He's
Yep.
not up, Reigns.
Exactly.
The store's
But great
closed.
question.
All right, what do we have next here?
Oh, we have Garrett Esk asks. Okay, wait a second.
That's
This
a
is
long
really,
one.
This is a really big question. Garrett, let me see if I can get it all in for you. Listen carefully, Gargans. How precise will flight control be in DC Universe Online? In other hero games, when you fly, you can go up, down, forward, backward, right, left, but it's all very static, very straight. Is there any chance of more control over flight? Will you be able to bank right, bank left, instead of just making an abrupt turn? Will you be able to do a loop-to-loop or a bank roll?
Are you the Micro Machines guy?
Not yet, but I'm
Or
gonna
that
try.
dude who reads the legal copy
For
at
the
end of
insurance
commercial?
stuff? Yeah, totally. I think what he's asking is,
Multi-talented.
could you tell us about flight?
Absolutely. All right. So flight, if you've played our game before, because we've been showing it for quite a while now at various shows, our flight was rather static. We had abrupt turns, and it was responsive, but it wasn't very fluid. We were going
In the
on
early versions, we
in
were
the early
pre-alpha,
versions.
just showing it off.
Absolutely. But we've really worked on our movement modes, super speed, flight, acrobatics, because we want to get them feeling really cool and have that fantasy of what it would be to fly. So we've added a lot of momentum features in there. You can do little rolls and things like that and tricks. And we're doing this not just so that it's interesting to fly from place to place, which it is. We have movement challenges in the game. So it's really based on your skill of how good you are at flight, which can help advance your character.
Right, and they're very different from one another, flight to acrobatics to super speed. Now, again, with flight, realize it's not just about getting from point to point, right? It's involved in combat. So as you swoop and lunge around, you'll be flying. It's about how you're moving between fights, right?
Movement-based attacks and
right?
stuff like that.
And then, of course, it's just for jetting and getting and going where you want to, so you can just zoom through the skies.
I love the sonic boom we have in the game when you're trying to get from one side of Metropolis to the other.
Yes,
It's
so
pretty cool.
flight has all of those options, and really, it's about you having that superhero, that DC experience. Can you fly like Superman?
So thanks for that question.
Although
It was
you
a
may not
mouthful.
be able to spin the world backwards. In
No,
time. Not
probably
so
not.
much. That would mess with the day-night
that
cycle.
won't happen.
All right.
All right, let's see here. Will there be weather or environmental changes in DCUO? Asks Chris F.
We do have weather. It's not a system that just goes on by itself. We have rain, I guess is the best way to say it. We don't want to have snow that necessarily blankets the whole city. Again, going back to that character setting up Gotham and Metropolis as main characters in our game, everything serves that end, from the lighting to the weather to the effects, everything, and to the action that's going on in the scene. So expect to see that the important thing, rather than necessarily being able to track Weather Channel-like patterns going through
Maybe
the
a
skies.
little bit of snow during the Mr. Freeze episode?
What are you doing? Are you promising more features again?
At least from his gun.
You need to write these all down so they all know what your fake feature list looks like. It's getting bigger. We better cut this video off. It's just going to keep going. You ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready to answer a real question about the real feature that actually is going to be in the game?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Ryan R. asks, will we be able to play special story arcs from the DC comics like Final Crisis or Blackest Night?
Very good question. So we've talked about how we have this sort of ideal version of the DC universe. We pick and choose what stories have sort of happened and which ones are yet to be. For example, Sinestro Corps War, Blackest Night, none of that has happened in our game yet. We're launching with our own unique storyline. You get to go through a whole origin story with your character and partake in this big, huge event that's going on in the DC universe.
Why are there so many heroes and villains?
Yeah, it basically explains exactly why you and your friends' characters are in the game and actually trying to make them a part of the DC universe so that they can be reflected in the comics if we want them to as well.
Right.
We're really working closely with DC Comics on that one. So anyway, yeah, you'll be able to partake in various storylines that have happened in the comics. We'll be saving certain ones, like big arcs like that, maybe for future releases and things, but there are definite storylines that we get inspired by, that we love. Last question, right?
It is the last question. Hurry, hurry.
All right, I'm going. Stephen P. asks, will we be able to have our own logo on our costume?
Yes, indeed. You'll be able to have your own logo from a choice of logos in the game. You won't be able to make your own, but you'll be able to choose which one applies to you. So we're going to have a big bank of them for you to put in, but we won't have the specifically you can make your own. Probably for lots of good reasons, which I'm sure all of you can imagine. But don't worry, you'll be able to make your own hero villain and slap that logo on.
Cool. All right.
Well, thanks again for all the questions. Keep them coming. We love them and we love keeping answering them, even the ones you don't ask or the ones that might not be real. Thanks again for joining us inside the studio. We'll see you in DC Universe Online.
Take care.
Sony.